Welcome to Her Voice Unleashed. We are dedicated to restoring balance in the world by empowering women to stand up, speak out, and go for what they want in life. My name is Nikita Sharma, and
I'm Amita. I'm a physician and life coach, and together we're breaking through societal norms and stereotypes. Also, we're going to guide you through nurturing your physical, mental, and spiritual well being. So, today we are jumping right in as Nikita just came back from a little trip with her parents. And we were just talking a little bit before we got on here about what we post on social media, what we don't, what people see, what people don't, and also just like who we are living life for, whether it's actually others, ourselves, or, what's normal as a human being.
yep. and we also talked about, I went with my parents, and that was a whole test in itself. And they say in spiritual teachings, like being able to accept and be around your parents is the ultimate test. And I know Amita just had some fun stuff with her parents, with her mom go on. And it really, really, really made me see, like, okay, who I am, where did I come from? I see why I am the way I am. But there was a lot of, I can see why I had this like people pleasing mentality. And it was a chance for me to like break free from that, because our parents, like, we care about what they think and we want their love, but we don't always, when we're younger, we don't always see that can be an unhealthy thing as well. That like wanting to please them when, that they have unhealed patterns that they're not even aware of. So,
Right. I mean, I think a lot about it with my own kids now. I think about my own parents when I'm parenting my kids because of this. I have a different, I mean, it's 2024, not 1984. And so it's just a different time in parenting. And a lot of times I think to myself, I want to just say, this is how it is because I said so. And that's how it used to be. Like, I'm sure many people listening to this can agree that when our parents said, because I said so, that was just what it was, right? Like, you can disagree or agree, or you can rebel or not rebel. Believe me, I did plenty of rebelling against the because I said so, but that was just the answer. Like, I said so, and therefore that's what you need to or not do. With my own kids, the because I said so just doesn't work. That's just not an acceptable thing. And I struggle sometimes to find like the answer instead.
you don't always have the patience to like get into it. Like,
I have to think about like, what's my reasoning? Like, no, you can't go to the park at 8 p.m. on a school night in the dark.
right.
Because I said so. Like,
Yeah.
Or no, you can't go to your friend's house. And if I don't know who they are or their parents, because I said so. Like, I don't know why that's not good enough. But I know why it's not good enough. The same reason it wasn't good enough for me. And so I think it makes me really think about how I want them to see me, and also how I want to see them, right? Like, I want to see them as people eventually and not just obedient children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that was the one of the biggest things, like why I rebelled as well as a younger adult, is because there was always that, like, because I said so, there was like this block, this rule, and I was like, well, that's not good enough. Like, we need to give the kids the more benefit of the doubt. So, Amita, what made you the way that you are?
I mean, I had very unconditional love. I think that was probably one of the biggest things. I made plenty of mistakes. My parents were pretty strict. My grandparents were not at all strict. And I was the oldest grandkid and I got away with anything. But I knew that they were always going to be there. Like, they proved that they were going to be there from a very young age. Like, when I got caught drinking, when I got caught in a lie, when I got caught, and because I got caught a lot. they were still there. Like nobody judged me. Nobody was like, because of X, Y, and Z, therefore you don't get to do ABC or whatever, which is kind of interesting. Because I do see that even with my own parenting now. One, my friends say that I don't make a lot of empty threats. When I threaten, I mean it. And so
Mhm.
so I think carefully. Like if you do that, then I will take your phone away for 48 hours. Period.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I think that the rebelling worked out for me in a
Mhm.
roundabout way. But I think that just knowing that even when I got in trouble, if I got in trouble, I knew my parents were still going to be there. They wouldn't be happy with me. And of course, I didn't
Mhm.
want to disappoint them. But,
Mhm.
and I did disappoint them, and they were unhappy with me many times. I still was like, I guess I can be human. Like
Mhm.
I can do wrong things and still have my parents' love and my family's love. It's
Mhm.
not always approvals, which I think is different, right? Like I think approving of behavior is a different thing than I love you no matter what.
Mhm.
And even
Mhm.
with our friends or even society, like as you get to be an older adult, you'll have different kinds of communities and you'll see like different adults will treat you differently based on everything: the car you drive, the clothes you wear, the politics you discuss, all of the above, right? And I'm also guilty of some of this, right? Like especially right now with the whole politics thing. And it's taken me a lot. I mean, as a physician during the COVID era and vaccinations, I live in Texas. There's been a lot of anti-vaccine stuff. There's
Mhm.
been anti-vaccine stuff since the beginning, and it became political, and I had to step back from it and like remember that I was human and that I was judging. Like I'm not supposed to judge people based on their vaccination status. Uh,
Mhm.
like that's so silly. Like when you think about it, but at the time it was such a like passionate topic of mine because people were dying left, right, and center, including my colleagues. That for me, if you were not going to get vaccinated, it meant something about you. I made it mean something about the other person.
Mhm.
So I think it's also reasonable to say, like noticing that we ourselves can be judgmental helps when the other person or other people are judgmental of you or us.
Mhm. Very true. Very true. And you mentioned about like rebelling. So like what made you rebel? Because it sounds like you had like a very nice upbringing, unconditional
Yeah,
love, things.
yeah. No good reasons except that I was a teenager and that my parents said no. My parents said no to everything. Or at least that's my interpretation. I don't know. Maybe that's not really true. You know, like I feel like anything I asked for was no. There was no
Mhm.
explanation. It was just like, no, you can't go out with friends. No, you can't sleep over. No, you can't go to that party. No, no, you can't do that this weekend. No, you can't do that. I had great grades, so I didn't really understand why. I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
it was just because like I was a teenager and there was lots of potential trouble to get into, you
Mhm.
know, especially in small town Regina. So I think that with good reason they said no, but without the explanation, my personality just wasn't going to accept it.
Mhm.
In fact, it was shocking to me that my parents I should change that. So not that long ago, I said something like to my mom, I can't believe that you let me go to Montreal by myself to university at 17 years old and you guys moved to Texas. Like my daughter's 15. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And my mom kind of looked at me and she's like, I didn't let you. Meaning, like, I supported your decision,
Mhm.
but it wasn't like a letting you go. So she was, of course, opposed to it, right? Like, I don't want to let my kid go away.
Yeah.
But again, it's that like it's both things. Like, I don't want you to go, but I'm going to support you while you're there.
Mm. Mhm. Again, that unconditional love coming
I
in, you know?
guess. Yeah, I guess.
because she'd rather, have you be on her good side rather than be fighting about it. So she's like, all right, you're gonna do it. I'll be
I
here
guess
for
so.
you.
Yeah.
So
I think that, yeah, rebelling is tricky. I mean, as teenagers, that's like what we're supposed to do, right? That's all part of it, challenging all the boundaries. What about you? How about like what made you rebel?
yeah, I was just listening to you, and we grew up very similarly. There was that rebel because I was told no, but for me, there was that side of like I didn't have that unconditional love. It was extremely, extremely conditional. For me, a middle child, and so my sister was like the golden child. Got great, good A+ student. I got, I think, B+ average, and I was considered dumb, but I was really good in I was really good in sports, and I was very creative, but those things weren't celebrated in my family and even shunned upon if it was too good because they thought it was taking away from my studies. And I remember my dad made me quit like rugby in my prime in grade 12 because he's like, your grades aren't good enough. And that made me feel very like misunderstood and just forced the rebellion even more. So I would like, when I was in university, I'm like hanging out with like, guys I shouldn't be hanging out with, doing things I really shouldn't be doing. Um, because like it goes like that being told no mixed with the non-acceptance really was hard on me, and really like even to this day, like there like I have to still in more mornings do these affirmations, like tell myself why I love myself and tell myself all the things that I love, because there's like that wound there still, and it goes so deep. It goes so deep into even me with my boyfriend who I love, who I want to spend the rest of my life with, being like, are you only being nice to me? Like, why are you being nice to me? Um, but it really takes that like vulnerability and being like, hey, it's still there, like it's obviously still something I need to like nurture and love myself through. But my parents didn't know they were doing it. They were living in survival mode as well. So I think, but it got to a point where it was like an unhealthy rebellion, to a point where like anything that my dad said, anything that my mom said, it was like an automatic no. Like it got so bad, and I'm very like open. I don't mind being vulnerable, but it got to a point where like I wouldn't even like my mother touching me. Like if she would put her hand on me or something, I like physically, or when she would try to be nice to me, I'm like, and this happened until I was like 28, 27, like 29. And I'd be like, where were you when I was younger? Like, where were you when I was a little kid and needed that emotional support? And now you want to be nice to me when I've already like raised myself, been hyper independent, all this kind of stuff. So it served a really good purpose in helping me like survive and get things done. But then in a place where I want to build healthy relationships, it has been a challenge, and that like trusting people in my circle. Um, yeah.
But you
Yeah.
did it. And I think that I want to go back to what you said, just where you were like, it was challenging, or it is challenging even,
Mhm.
and you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hear like several things. First, like this like subconscious, unconscious like reaction to things that were going on or are going on, right? Like relatively recently with your parents. And then you're
Mhm.
like, I'm becoming aware of the fact that I feel this way and that my parents are people and that it is challenging, and I'm still going to do it. Because I feel
Mhm.
like that is the hard part. The like it's everyone else's fault. It's my parents' fault, my friend's fault, my family's fault that I am the way I am, and that's just what it is.
Mhm.
And therefore I am this way, right? This is my personality, these are my traits, this is how I cope, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But I love that you didn't say I'm coping. I'm sure there's coping because that's just what humans do.
Mhm.
But you're also taking it to the next, not just coping. Like you're not
Mhm.
just like status quo. You're like, there are challenges and I know I can be better and I want to be better for my future relationships.
Exactly.
And that's the part I think I would love to hear more about how you got to that.
Yeah, the self-awareness. I think there was that self-awareness that I started to build around, oh man, yeah, around 28, 27. I went to this personal development seminar, and then also just seeing how the things I was doing was not only it was hurting me and it was hurting the people I cared about. And I was not happy. I was always keeping people at a distance. And I was like, when I would vision or map out the future, like what I want, I'm like, okay, it's not lining up. Like, in order to get what I want, if I want a healthy, happy family, a healthy, happy relationship, if I want, to be successful and help other people in the world, like I need to learn how to do this stuff and be comfortable with it and be comfortable around people and trust and love and all that good
I
stuff.
mean, it sounds uncomfortable, which in coaching we say a lot. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like willing to
Which,
feel the uncomfortable feelings.
yeah. Which again, like I attribute to the gym. Like I got that feeling
There
of
you
just
go.
going to the gym every day, crush it out, and then you feel good and you see the rewards, the delayed gratification. So yeah.
My hamstrings are killing me today.
Think of the gains. Think of how strong they'll be next time.
This is what I'm thinking about right now. My hamstrings are killing me, and I have a trainer scheduled for tomorrow at 9. I really want to cancel,
Just do upper body. There's
but
always
I'm not.
a solution.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Like, exactly. Like, I'm like, I hate him right now, right? Like, and so I can barely walk,
Oh no.
and I'm gonna do it anyway. I guess
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, it's the pain, but also like I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Because
So
what
I guess
I
as we're coming
always
up on time, yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah. Oh no, I always tell my clients or people or myself, I'm like, what's the solution? What's the on the other side of it? That you stay the same and you continue to feel the hurt or pain or discomfort. And okay, if you're okay with that, for sure, don't do anything different. But if you're sick and tired of getting the same result and you're sick and tired of something, then something needs to change and you need to commit to that.
And
So,
it's important to remember that your brain is actually going to gravitate towards, like, even if it's negative, comfort, because you
yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
Like telling yourself, I should exercise. I should go to the gym. I should eat less chips. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll still eat the chips because it's comfortable. Like, I know it. So I think like our take home points are maybe again self-awareness. I think some of our take home points are going to be repetitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more inner work, journaling, even affirmations, like just starting to listen to, I mean, some in the beginning, the affirmations they feel very silly. But even like seriously, gratitude practice
Mm-hmm.
is hugely helpful in self-awareness as well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I'm grateful that I have AC in Texas. Like seriously,
Yeah.
you know, I'm grateful for the person that, held the door open at the store today. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I had a box in my hand, like the
Mm-hmm.
simplest things. And so I think if we started there, that would help
Yeah.
the
And I
process.
found with the gratitudes, the because statement is very
Mhm.
powerful. It's like, okay, you're grateful for these things because, like, why? Like, you're grateful that person held the door open for you because it restored your faith in humanity.
Yeah,
Like,
it's actually true. It's so true. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
there are people that stop and pause for a second.
yeah,
It's true.
exactly.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.